Well, we start with the night's European football. Liverpool West Ham both been knocked out of the Europa League at the quarter-final stage. So as for Liverpool, well, they did beat Atalanta 1-0 in that second leg in Italy, but ultimately the damage had been done at Anfield. 3-1 on aggregate. They go out to the Serie A side. And of course, this Jurgen Klopp's final European game in charge of Liverpool. Jay Bothro's been watching this one all the way through. What was really lacking, Jay, tonight from Liverpool? If they were going to mount one of those famous European comebacks, why didn't it happen? What was not there?
Again, they're just wasteful. They get in great positions, but I think it's the story of their season, really. They're just very wasteful. It was the same against Crystal Palace on the weekend. Very wasteful. They get great chances. Salah had one tonight. The best chance of the night. The ball got played over the top. It's bouncing really nicely. The keeper's come out. All he's got to do is lift it over him. And you would think someone of his finishing ability would do that very simply, and it come off his shin and it's gone wide, and that would have made it 3-2. But again, very wasteful. And then in the second half, Atalanta, to be fair to them, came back into it. They pressed really well, man to man, very aggressive in their challenges. Gasperini put in a real tactical masterclass over both legs, to be honest. But the damage was done last week. It was very, very difficult to come back from 3 goals down. But they fully deserve it over both legs.
So Liverpool, at one point, it was the quad. Now it looks like it will just be the Carabao Cup, which is already in the bag. What do you feel is overall in these last few, couple of weeks in the season, I suppose, starting from that cup defeat at Manchester United and then this really, really difficult week they've had? What do you put that down to?
Well, to be honest, me and Matt were talking off air just then, and we said, Liverpool, they haven't been scraping, but they've been scoring them last-minute goals a lot this season. And I was like, it's not going to happen like that all season. You need to be controlling games. When you see the likes of Man City, it's happened to them where they've nicked goals right at the end. But generally, you see them controlling games more. Liverpool haven't been doing that, and they've been really wasteful. In particular, I hate, I feel like I'm bullying Darwin Núñez sometimes because, but I have to be honest, he's so wasteful in front of goal. The chances that he has time with to make the right decision, he makes the wrong decision. The chances, the goals he does do really well with, you think, wow, how's he scored that? But it's when he doesn't have to think about it. He was really wasteful. Gakpo had chances to get shots off. He didn't get shots off. They've been in the final third where the final ball wasn't quite right. It was just behind the forward. So I think overall, when you really make a conclusion on Liverpool, they're wasteful with their chances and when they get into good areas, and it's cost them.
Was it anything to do? I mean, the timing of the decision to announce Jurgen Klopp was going to be leaving at the end of the season. There was that initial sort of burst of let's do it for Jurgen. As a player, I wonder, does that sort of get tired after a while? Where you've got that initial fervour with it, but then you're getting back into the kind of ins and outs of the season and you can't carry that all the way through. That sentiment can't carry you all the way through.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, by all accounts, some of the players knew before it actually come out.
Yeah, it's true.
But I think, yes, everyone wants to do it for Klopp. He's been a fantastic manager there. He's a legend at Liverpool. But at the end of the day, you can't make mistakes. You can't be so wasteful and expect to win at the highest level. And that's what Liverpool have done. It's not that they're such a good team. They've got great players. But I just keep going back to when you get in those positions, you need players that are going to be clinical in front of goal and put them chances away. And this season, Liverpool haven't had that. Jota being injured for a long period, I think that's cost them because he's one of the most clinical players at the club, along with Salah. He scores a goal every 117 minutes, I believe, and Salah's 120 minutes. So, they're the 2 most clinical players, and you've lost one of them through injury, so that's had a big effect on them. But I think overall it's just been a disappointing season. I mean, unless they go and win the league, which they still can. They're a few points behind. It's not in their hands, but they can still do that. If they don't do it, then you look back and say, from where they were, the position they were in, it's a disappointing season.
Yeah. OK, Jay, thank you for that. Let's switch our attention to West Ham, who've also been knocked out of the Europa League after drawing 1-1 at home to Bayer Leverkusen to lose 3-1 on aggregate. And we were saying this, Matt, before that it would be maybe the sort of typical thing that David Moyes would pull off to win and beat Leverkusen. Finally, someone beats them this season, and they still go out, West Ham. Didn't even get that, did they? But can they have any complaints, do you think, in terms of the outcome of the tie and tonight's draw?
No, I think tonight, they deserve to get that 1-0 victory. They could have scored more. They had so many chances. They played brilliantly first half. I think the fans, they would have loved to have watched that first half as, the team, they went out, they were pressing, they were in the Leverkusen's half the whole time, winning ball backs, putting crosses. I would love to know how many crosses that went in that first half.
You would have enjoyed that game, wouldn't you?
It would have been fantastic, yeah. But they got their goal, great goal by Antonio, was brave, Bowen's great crossing. And then it was just the second half, they just couldn't keep it up. Credit to Alonso, he made some substitutions. Frimpong come on, scored the goal with Boniface. They changed the game.
Do you know what I loved about that, though? The West Ham fans clapping Leverkusen scoring the equaliser, because they understand what an extraordinary achievement it is to go almost, at this point, the whole season unbeaten.
But that's why they're so good, because they just wear you down. You could see the looks on the players' faces, the West Ham players. They worked so hard. They just didn't have anything left. And then they just get to a point where they do create chances, and they've got top players, and that's why they are unbeaten, because they just wear teams down and they've got quality to score the goals. And it's just like you said, I think it would have been nice for Moyes to have won the game, beaten Leverkusen, but over the two legs, that first leg, if they'd have just held on for a little bit longer, conceding
it's
that
what
second
might have been
goal
in both of these ties, isn't
was
it?
a disaster.
Damage done last week. Just one last one on Leverkusen, actually. It's Roma away first in the semi-finals and then at home. Do you back them to actually go the whole way here, Matt, from what you've seen?
If you're saying on form and the way that they're playing, yes. I think Roma is going to be an extremely difficult task for them, but on current form, yes. The way that they play is great. I think he's made a lot of changes tonight that not necessarily would be playing in that game against Roma. Yeah. So when you look at that, Frimpong didn't play. He's taken off the centre half after 25 minutes because he wasn't quite at it. So I think the team will be slightly different and they'll dominate again like they did at home. In the home leg. I think it'll be very different in Rome. I think it'll be very different in Rome, but I do think they'll have enough to come out.
Go on, Jay.
I think it's going to be a really tough game, to be honest. I think that's a game where you've got one team that keeps the ball really well, and then you're going to have another team that's going to be very disciplined, very compact, very aggressive in their tackles.
You're going to have someone like Lukaku.
Exactly. And then you've got the powerful Lukaku who's just running through on goal. I think it's going to be a really, really tough game. But again, I think it will come down to the managers, really. Both ex-players, tactical.
Also, they need to get an advantage. Roma at home, they need to take an advantage.
Because
if they go back to Leverkusen 0-0 or 1-0 down, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, Roma who beat Milan 2-1 on the night and
I'm going for Roma.
Good, we've got balance. Balance on the panel. Guys, thank you very much indeed. Enjoyed your company briefly this evening. Thank you.